So I am tasked with talking about kind of what the background, what the origin of the internship was, and really, so our internship started in 2011, but really goes a lot farther back than that. In that, when I was, how I really was trained to do ministry, and really the purpose of was because of an internship. And the internship that I did was at Portland Fellowship back in 2005, 2006. And somehow in there I missed the memo that the internship was designed to help equip people to start a ministry, because that was the one thing that I wasn't going to do, was start a ministry. So that was the foundation of, okay, how can we do ministry? And even at that time, even though I was living in Portland for that year for the internship, my heart was still in Albany because that's where I had lived for a number of years. And so I knew that I was planning to come back to Albany. I didn't know that God was planning for me to start Mid-Valley Fellowship. So that's really the original origins of this idea of an internship. In 2011, Mid-Valley Fellowship was about 5 years old. We had started in the fall of 2006. And what I was discovering kind of early on that certainly there's an element of, it takes a little while for people to come to you for support, so there's that part of it. But that was starting to happen, but then the other part of it that was challenging was finding people who would serve those people who are coming to us for support. And started contemplating it and really realizing that what the internship that I had been a part of was really helping equip people to serve in ministry, whether full-time or otherwise, but really to understand, how do I take this experience that I've had and how do I then use it in ministry? And so it's like, well, if we can't recruit leaders, then maybe we should just train them. And so from that, we started the internship, and it very much modeled it very similar to what Portland Fellowship had been doing. We've stayed with that focus of, we want to develop leaders. And initially it was, hey, we'd like to develop leaders for our own programs. But then ultimately what happens is that we have people who come for a season and then they kind of move on a lot of times. Not always. Certainly Jennifer is an example of someone who didn't move on. And there's others around as well. And so there was this reality that this idea that started out as, hey, we want to develop leaders for the ministry of Mid-Valley Fellowship, really ended up being seeds that sort of went out into other ministries as well, or into the marketplace even. There's a number of different interns that have come through in the years. And of those, there's people who have gone into full-time ministry. There are people who have gone into marketplace jobs, meaning things that are not technically defined as ministry, but they are using some of the skills even that they've learned to be able to do those different jobs. And so certainly the internship is focused on ministry, and that's really what we're equipping for. But there's this realization that those leadership skills go way beyond just the ministry context, that if we're really growing in our leadership, that there's going to be great opportunities, good things to do with that. In the last couple of years, since 2017 or 18, we've also we purchased the Mid-Valley Fellowship House in 2017, almost coming up on 4 years ago. And part of that was there were a few different things. We were outgrowing our offices, and so we knew that we needed more space for counseling. But also part of it was that the internship community that I experienced was a residential learning community. One of my mentors used to refer to it as like a small seminary, in a sense, in that you sort of have this group of people who are living together and learning and kind of walking through life. So you're learning and you're living together and you're growing, and so there's something that's really beautiful about that picture. And so that's been something that's been a desire for a long time. We had a taste of that before we bought the MVF house. With actually Terry's year, with two of the three interns lived together. But then that's kind of the bigger picture. I mean, that's part of the vision too, is like having people who would live in community and be walking through this experience together.